in my opinion, we're having that conversation that Supreme said we need to have. I hope that's what we're doing today.
Nobody did that. Ain't nobody been around here judging her blackness. What we have judged is her lineage and her attachment to American DOS, descendants of slaves. She has a Jamaican parent and an Indian parent, and neither of those parents is an American DOS, descendant of chattel slavery in this country. Not everywhere slavery. We know that was slavery in other parts of the world. But if you in the Caribbean or one of those places, if you in Haiti, then your issue, as we've said here many a times, is with the French. And if you ever get reparations from the French, I will clap, I will be happy, I will throw you a party, I will buy you a drink, baby. But I will not try to take your money. I will not try to eat that fruit, because I don't have no bones buried in Haiti. My bones is buried in here. I celebrate you, I will help you, but I understand that that is yours. And I think you understand that too. So the real issue is, just like I'm not Jamaican, just like I'm not Haitian, just like I'm not Eritrean, you are not American DOS. You are not, you do not have parents and grandparents who grew up on sharecropper farms who can trace their stuff back to slavery. You do not have that. So what that means is that you are not a part of this tribe. That don't mean you are not black. It means you are not a part of this tribe.
I love what she's saying there. Again, I don't like the fervor, the arrogance, because it helps, because she's exactly right. Yeah. And I'm not saying she can't be passionate, but just how it's done, it just adds to the issue. And again, I don't want to make this about Yvette. We're not going to do any more cuts from her, but I still love the information in what she's saying. It's, hey, if you get reparations, you can take this plan we're using here and get reparations. I'm all for that. What she's alluding to, just to be real clear, and Chill, I'll let you respond first. What she's alluding to when she says, if you get your reparations, I'll clap for you. I'll help you get it. I won't come take what's yours. It's kind of her response to when you try to keep it all together and people say we should all stick together and we shouldn't separate ourselves. What her and Tone are always fighting against is when Pan-Africans are saying, no, let's not separate. We need to be asking all of them for reparations to all of us. And all Tone and Yvette is saying, if you do that, one, you can't win. You can't make a sound legal argument to expand it to everybody got to give it to all of us. And in this situation, we're asking specifically to our government for what happened to the American descendant of slaves. So to put it all together, you're taking from us. So she's kind of referencing saying, hey, if you're successful to the person she's speaking to for getting it from the French, I don't want no parts, because that's not our plight. Our plight was here on this land. Our plight was not where you were at in the Caribbean. So she's absolutely right in how she's separating it. But I wanted to give a little context for why she, in my opinion, kind of took a shot. I don't want none of yours. Like it's just said with so much fervence that people are going to miss the actual point, in my opinion. Go ahead, Chill. Your thoughts about what I think is a sound argument that her and Tone are making, not just simply about reparations, but understanding how this needs to be separate when it comes to reparation. Doesn't necessarily have to apply to all other things, but in this situation, I think it's a smart play. Your thoughts, Chill?
I think we need to use the terms that we use in sociology and science to explain what's going on, and it's called ethnogenesis. Ethnogenesis. It is the development or the stages of new ethnic groups. Mm-hmm. Why is that important? Because if you speak to them in a language that makes sense, a commonality, that's what makes science so powerful, is that the words tend to mean the same thing across cultures, right? So I would approach an African and ask them where they from, and then ask them what group they belong to, what their ethnic group. None of them would say I'm from Africa in a sense of I'm no longer Yoruba. I'm no longer Igbo, right? Go to the Caribbean, you wouldn't ask them and say you're no longer Jamaican, you're just African. Right. That's not a term that they would do. They would use that. They wouldn't feel comfortable about that. And then explain to them that process to which you became Yoruba or Igbo or Jamaican is the process that we went through here, become African Americans. That though we all have similar roots, the branches of ethnicity has changed within each group dynamic, and there's slight differences between the cultures, and it's okay. And it doesn't mean that we cannot engage in global politics. It just means that we need to recognize the uniqueness and the beauty of each ethnic group equally. And that's very important, because when you look at the argument for reparations, there has to be a time that it starts. When was the offense? When did the offense happen? Right? What was the results of the offense? And then how do you repair the offense? And if you weren't part of the offense, then you shouldn't be part of the repairing, because you don't have the same damage. It doesn't mean that your experiences is less, though. So African Americans shouldn't be standing
I love
there.
it. And again, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. The phone, it cut off a little bit. Continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, I apologize. It's not saying that your experience with slavery, right, is somehow less than my experience with slavery. That's not what we're saying. We're saying it's different. And let me give you a personal testament to that. My family is originally from Berks County, Georgia. We're part of the Geechee people that started to spread out, right? My grandmother's father, I believe she was 9, died from an assault by a group of European men who did not like the fact that he had land. Him and his brother had land.
Wow.
They beat him, and 2 days later, he passed away. And it forced my grandmother, her brothers and sisters, and mother to flee Georgia and go to Harlem. That's an experience of numerous people here on the soils of America. Now, if I was to go to those same people who committed that act and demand reparations or justice, unless you're part of that group, descendants, my grandmom, excuse me, her brothers and sisters, et cetera, you would not be applied to that because it's a specific incident. And I think we can use those type of examples to explain the argument for reparations.
No, I love it. And the thing is, from the beginning, before it turned into a battle, and people say, "Hey, they're trying to Yvette and Tone are trying to separate us again." That's going back years now, but they literally was just saying that. I wish, Chill, that they would have kept your tone and your understanding of how to, in a sense, deliver their message, and just kind of stayed in that vein, so that people understand. No, this is for you too. We're not separating, but this is, like you just said, this is how you make this argument based on where you were colonized at, if you are in the diaspora because of the enslavement trade. That's simply all it's ever been, and that gets lost. Your thoughts, and I'm gonna play